Hello, I want to welcome you to this Saturday's episode of Off the Shelf Books, and we are honored to have with us. I'm going to be flipping screens. We're honored to have with us Miss Tricia Gardella, and she is so patient and gracious and kind. And so this is our second Saturday doing this, and we're going to make it rock this Saturday. And I want to welcome you to our off the shelf show for this June the 6th, 2026. Before we get into asking Miss Tricia questions, I just want to start with this quote, and this is from George Eliot. It is never too late to be what you might have been. And I want to encourage you to, if you have time this week, and I hope you do, to stop in and visit my website at Chistel, CHISTELL.com, and going to ask Tricia to share hers as we start today's show. So, Tricia, I know to our audience, Tricia, she has just so many things she's done. Her book ideas are inspired by her travels, family, friends, and traditions. And she has a wide range of hobbies, including canning, cooking, knitting, oh, wow, rug making, and gardening. However, her true passion is writing. And after a 23-year hiatus, she's thrilled to return to the literary world. And in the 1990s, she published several books traditionally before pausing her writing career. And she like flexed her entrepreneurial muscles when she started and operated an ice cream parlor. She is the author of several books, including Mouse Visits Everglades National Park, Absurd, says Bird, What Bird Heard, and Mouse Visits Joshua Tree National Park. This awesome author holds a BA in ancient history and classical archaeology, and she lives in Central California with her two. She calls them self-centered cats, and she draws inspiration from her children, her grandchildren. Wow, and her five great grandchildren. It's just an honor to have you here with us on Off the Shelf, Tricia. We have like 20 to 30 minutes. I like to kick it off with two questions. The first is if you could tell our listeners where you grew up and what life was like for you growing up, and then follow up that with what inspired your love for writing books.
Well, first of all, I have to tell you, I have seven great grandkids now.
Okay.
And when I grew up was a different world. We weren't worried about everything. There weren't as many people. There weren't, and I live in a very, very small area. There are 54,000 people in our county. So, that's pretty doggone small. So, everybody knew everybody sort of. Everybody sort of took care of everybody. And I think that that had a lot to do with the way that I think, and I still am like that. We live on a ranch, which is very accessible to stores and different things like that. It's not that far, especially in this day of the vehicles we have, but yet we are removed. So, in some ways, we live like there aren't a lot of other people, and it
Mhm.
it is different. I love where I live because I'm like 30 minutes from the mountains and I'm 2 hours from San Francisco. So if you want to go to plays or anything like that, that's available. So it's a good life. It's been a
Okay.
perfect life.
Awesome. What inspired your love for writing books?
I just have always loved words. From the time I was really little, I loved the fact that you could, well, I think of them as building with words. And what I think has always amazed me is how people can take the same words that are available, some people can
Mhm.
take the same words that are available to everybody and make such wonderful stories out of it.
Oh, yes.
And other people just make a mud soup.
Oh my
So,
goodness. Talking
so you,
about,
it's just, it's like playing the piano, really. Writing is like playing the piano. the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got the talent in the first place. I mean, I
Hmm.
used to take piano lessons and I still can't play the piano. So, but there are things that are part of you that if you and you love it, if you focus on that, you can improve it.
Okay, yes, yes. So, talking about writing and doing things with words, please give off the shelf listeners an overview of the book, Mouse Visits Everglades National Park.
Well, Mouse was not intended to be a series. I've never written a series. They were all standalone books. And then I I found an illustrator, Ginger Nielsen, to do a book called Absurd Said Bird. And when I got the first samples of it, I fell in love with Mouse. I just loved him. And I thought, I got to write more books about him. So I asked her what she thought, and we are now starting our 13th book
Wow.
in a little over 2 years, I think. But she loves it as much as I do. She's around my age, so it's really it's been fun. It's really a fun thing for both of us.
Hmm.
And it's about a mouse who has learned to teleport to national parks using a keyboard. And one of the reasons is that when I was a young child, we used to go in the summertime on a vacation every summer. And a lot of times it was to a national park. And that
Hmm.
was way back when there weren't as many national parks. And people didn't visit them like they do now. So, you were in wide open spaces back then. Um, I live very close to Yosemite, which is one of the most beautiful ones, I think. And so that really worked out well when he was looking for something, where to go. And it's been so much fun, and the research is so much fun. And Ginger's illustrations are absolutely, I mean, just we get better.
Yeah.
We get
Now,
better.
you were traditionally published. When you were traditionally published, is that when you started writing this book series and then you just
No,
continue?
I didn't write this book series till a couple years ago, start a couple years ago. When I first started writing, I wrote a book called Just Like My Dad. That was the first one. I went to my first SCBWI meeting, and that's the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators.
Okay.
I mean, I had no contact with other authors. So I needed a way. So I drove down to Los Angeles and went to this first conference, and there was a woman editor from Harper. It was called Harper and Row then. And I remember listening to her and just thinking, oh, I'd give anything to sell to somebody, but I knew I had no chance because I was just beginning.
Hmm.
I sent off just like my dad, and she liked it, except that it ended. We knew it was a little girl at the end. And she said that was the only thing that didn't work for her. So it was really easy for me to fix that. And it turned out to be a much better ending. But um, anyway, it became HarperCollins, and that's my first book was with HarperCollins.
So, how many books did you do traditionally before you? Like,
Four.
and I know our listeners are probably, and I want to talk about some of your other books, but something that probably piques a lot of people's interest. You always think traditionally published. Once you do that, that's like you at the top, top, top. You can't go any better than that. Why did you leave that traditionally published? And would you say that once you're there, because you get the distribution is broader, they have contacts with the bookstores, the libraries, you you
It's
can
true.
sell a lot more copies. Would you say that traditionally published is a better way to earn either a part-time or full-time income as a writer? Is it much better, again, distribution, et cetera, or would you say indie?
Maybe. I mean, if you learn indie, I think indie's the better way to go. But I think that traditionally published um, has its benefits. It has what you were talking about. But when after I took my sabbatical, it's, you know, I felt I was too old to get back to writing because it took me like 5 years between each book.
Okay.
It takes a long time when you're traditionally publishing. And so I wasn't writing, and I was just traveling and taking my grandkids to different places and doing that type of thing. And then COVID hit. And
Ah,
it was like, well, what am I going to do? I mean, I'm a widow and I'm at home a lot, which I love, but I just didn't know what I was going to do. And I decided to write a memoir. And that's what started the whole thing and that's what got me back to writing.
okay.
And um, because at that same time, I discovered there was a thing called indie. I didn't know there was independent
Okay.
publishing. I didn't know anything about it. And I fell in love with it because you have control.
Yes.
The only bad thing is you have to pay, and picture books are extremely expensive to publish. And
Mm-hmm.
I still don't get it because it's the foundation of reading.
Mm-hmm.
If you learn when you're young and have good picture books to take you on, I think that that is important. And,
Mm-hmm.
that's just my philosophy.
Yes. Oh, it's interesting that you share that. And I've heard people say more control. And even if you're traditionally published, unless you're a big, well-known name, um, you have to do your own marketing. And some people are kind of surprised to learn that. So either way, you have to find what
Exactly.
works for
In
you
this
as
day and age, you do need to market yourself no matter how you go. And
that.
marketing, that's where I am right now. And it is, it's just as difficult. No, the writing part is the easy part. It
That's
is
what people
really the
say.
easy part. Um, Not that you always get it perfectly, but it's the easy part because marketing, you're competing with 4,000 books a day being published on Amazon. They're not
Mm,
picture books, but I mean, it's all different genres, but still, that's how many are coming out all the time. So, and with when traditionally publishing a book lasts maybe 6 months or whatever, unless it's really something that grabs the world.
right.
And so you don't have, in indie publishing, books stay around forever.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
just have to
Hmm.
you have to keep them going. But you have to learn how to do it in the first place. And that's
Yes.
where I am. It's
Yes.
very I waited with Mouse because it's really a specific type book, it's like there's a book on Yosemite, there's a book on Yellowstone, there's a book on so I didn't want to just, what are you going to do with just one book on Yellowstone
Right.
unless it's in the right place. So I waited and now I have a really good series. I think it's good. I really enjoy it still.
Okay. Uh,
And but to get anybody to look at it, you know, I spent a year taking classes and reading, and I'm still not there. But maybe next year, you know.
Yes, you get your stories out there. And there's so much with AI and a lot of people. There's also a lot I see of people publishing books particularly just to create revenue. They're not really, I don't think they're really into the story. There are a lot of people publishing it. They see Amazon as a platform where they can go, and then some others where they can go and then make a lot of money. And then there's some people, the heart of what they do. And I think at some point with AI coming on, that's going to become a distinguisher where people can see you're a true artist. You really care about the painting, the music, the story, versus you're in it just to make money from it. I think that's going to start to reveal itself. I think it will
I
uh,
hope you're right.
more and more. I wanted to ask you about your mouse series for our listeners. Can you tell them what age group is for and introduce us to some of the characters and their personalities in the story in the series?
Well, it started out with Bird. Bird, the first book was Absurd Said Bird, and Mouse is going to go to the moon and get cheese, and he promises all the farm animals that if they help him build an airplane to get to the moon, he'll bring them back cheese. Well, everything that he's doing, everything that he does, Mouse, a bird's up in the tree, going, that's absurd. That's absurd. Everything's absurd. And then, of course, Mouse crashes when, he goes off the cliff to go to the moon, and Bird sweeps down and picks him up, and he says, um, everyone knows it takes a rocket to get to the moon. So that was, that's how the book ended, and it was supposed to be um, done. Well, it was the perfect transitional book when I
Hmm.
decided to do a series because Mouse and Bird worked together and build this rocket. And, they're pretty pleased with what they came up with, but where are they going to get fuel because they're animals?
Hmm.
And so Mouse is very depressed because, his dreams have all been, and Bird says, well, there are lots of places right here in this country where you can visit. You don't have to go to the moon. And so Mouse starts thinking about that, and Bird tells him there's a place called a library where you can get ideas. And so that book is about libraries and different things. It's not till the third book that we get to a national park.
Okay. And how many characters? Is it just mouse and bird, or do we
It's
do
mouse.
the?
It's mostly mouse. But um, meets somebody at each park. Like almost every park. Not always, but he visit. One of the things he's looking for mice too, and so we go into the different breeds of mice in
Okay.
different places, and that's really fun. I like that. And
Okay.
what was especially fun is the first book is Joshua Tree National Park. And
Hmm.
it's a small park, and I needed something that was kind of small because was still in transition. And it has more mice than any other one of the national parks that I've been doing. And that made it really fun too, to have all these different. So in the back matter, there's always like author notes and other kind of questions that are fun to keep you thinking about what Mouse is doing. But he meets people. He met his first female mouse in the Carlsbad Caverns National Park.
Okay.
And
Well, when kids are reading the books, will they feel like they're actually at the national parks and they're learning about the parks while they're
yes,
actually?
I think
Oh,
so. I think that they'll relate well because, he's a little guy. They're little guys. My books are for K3 mostly, but I'm going K4 because fourth graders get free passes into national parks all over the
oh,
country. So I thought, why not? But I think that my series is a good starter for understanding national parks. And that is my mission, is to um, get them to understand the importance of protecting and preserving our parks. And, just you might only get two per class, but even if you get one per class,
hmm,
that's a few people that will be thinking about it and
yes.
maybe say something.
What have young readers and their parents or teachers been saying to you about the books? What are the feedback are you getting from them about your
The
book?
reviews that I'm getting I get almost all five-star reviews, which really makes me happy. 4 or 5. Um, I think the lowest I've gone is a 3, but they're saying a lot of them are saying it belongs in a classroom. And I truly believe that,
Ah,
but try to find out how to
yeah.
do that. I think I'm getting closer all the time. As you go along and you try something and that doesn't work, you try something else. So, um, Mouse and I both keep trying.
Now I know you wrote the Quest in Search of Me, which is a book like a more an adult book.
It is definitely an adult book.
Do
It's a
you,
memoir.
oh my goodness, and the strength you had to move through your grief and start writing again. Do you explore that for your readers in the story? Something that somebody going through something difficult it could help them as they continue to move forward.
I think that I weave in my philosophy a lot, but I'm not preaching. I think each of us has to go our own path. And I would love to help people, but not everyone thinks like I do. What
Hmm.
I truly believe that what's right for you is right for you. It doesn't mean it's right for everybody else in the world. So
Okay.
I found pretty much what's right for me. And that changes at time. by being around other people and absorbing something that they say, or, you know,
Yeah,
that's the fun thing about what we are.
yes. Do you have plans to ever write, or have you written any adult novels? And if not,
No,
are there any plans to pursue writing
never.
adult?
I mean, I have ideas, and I like to write things. I've finally gotten back to my blog, and I like writing stuff like that because it's more like you're writing to yourself about th it's sort of like memoir. You're just writing about what you're thinking about at the time or what's bothering you or whatever. And that's the probably the only, most adult stuff. And I'm not sure that I can say it's adult, but
that you have. What can you tell us? And this again for people who might themselves want to be in your shoes one day. They want to have a hold a published book in their hand one day. What writing process do you follow? How do you when you start to concept a story and get it down on paper? What is the process? Do you do outline, character sketches? How do you your character development, the story develop?
I think about it for a while, and I sort of get things in an area. Sometimes I'll write some notes. It depends. I'm working on one on Volcanoes National Park, and that's in Hawaii. And it's like, well, what exactly is he going to do? Those are the things I have to think about. But I think that adult writers have a much better chance of succeeding in traditional public, I mean, not traditional, um, indie
Indie.
publishing,
Oh.
because there are more people looking for it. I mean, it depends on your genre, and if genres change. This one's popular now, and that one's popular, whatever. Picture books always kind of stay the same. There are grandparents that believe their kids should see them, but in this stage, you're competing against virtual thing, online
Hmm.
for everything, but there's still people. It it's so much more snuggly to read a book at night than look at your iPad.
I agree
You
with
know,
you. I'm a print book. So I'm listening to you and I'm doing research for today's show. Have you tried to get your books in schools and working with like youth programs, summer camps, etc.?
I am working on that. The biggest problem, I think, I just got myself a personal assistant. That is making all the difference in the world because
Okay.
the biggest problem that we do, especially what someone like I do, is you try to go in every direction.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm just deciding now is you can only do so much. So you better find what makes you that you enjoy because
Hmm.
you're going to back off if you don't.
Yeah, that's a good
And
point.
so that's where I am right now is uh I the libraries and schools, I think, are where I want to be.
Hmm.
And I am figuring it out, and we'll see. But I don't care if you send something off, it takes forever to hear back if you ever do.
Yeah. Follow up, follow
Because
up,
there's
follow
so
up,
many,
follow up, follow ups in a letter, send a postcards and an
well,
email.
especially if you're an indie,
Yes.
because there are so many, a lot of times you go into a bookstore and you mention you're an indie, and it's like they put up the oh, get her out of here. But I've read signed books quite a few times at Barnes and Noble. The one down the hill likes me, so that's a good
Oh,
thing. And
yes. No, no, I think your story should be out there. Hopefully, you will continue and get them in schools. Whether you meet somebody who has a is good contact at a festival, a book signing, somebody who just walks in, and they could help you there. But a lot of it is follow up. So you reach out with a
exactly,
letter, you come
that's
back with a
exactly
postcard,
it.
you come back with an email, you maybe leave a voicemail, you stop in into the and maybe see if you can set up a meeting with a school book buyer. It's just so many different ways instead of
Right.
keep knocking, knocking, knocking. are you working on any new material now? And if so, can you give us a glimpse into what you're
Well,
working on?
two things. We just finished, it's called Mouse Visit, no, well, it's about the 12 days of Christmas. It's based on
Okay.
the 12 days of Christmas. Part of the thing that is we have over 63 national parks in this country.
Wow,
And
yeah.
there's no way I'm going to live long enough to write a story about each one of them. So I have selected the ones that seem more fun to put mouse on in most of them. But I started, I think in book six, putting a number together, that kind of related to each other. And so that's what I did with the 12 days of Christmas. He goes to 12 parks for the 12 days before Christmas, and it's really a fun thing. It won't be out till August, but we had a lot of fun. We finished that. But right now I've got three things going. I promised myself no more books besides Mouse, but I had there are two that I just have to finish first. And well, one of them I wrote a couple months ago, and I said no more writing, but I did.
Oh, good for
So
you. Good for
I don't
you.
listen to myself too well.
Where do you have a website? Because you said mention blog. If you could share your website URL, please.
It's TriciaGardella.com.
TriciaGardella.com. And I'm going to spell that for our listeners. It's TriciaGardella.com. TriciaGardella.com. You can hop over there and check her out. Where can listeners get copies of your books? And then if you're on any social networks, can you tell us where people can find you online?
I'm on I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Pinterest, I'm just trying lots of stuff.
Hmm.
Um I don't know. I mean, I try to do a little bit of it all, but but that's sorry,
Somebody,
someone.
yes. And where can people get copies of your books other than TriciaGardella.com? Where's some other places where people
Okay,
can?
TriciaGardella.com. I do have a store there. And it'll say that store or something like that on my website. But of course, Amazon, because everybody has books on Amazon. And then, all of them, Barnes and Noble and those, you can't go into the store and get them, but you can order them.
Okay.
And I don't know.
And
Um,
then lastly, if you mentioned you have done book signings, if you can let us know about any upcoming events where you'll be, so if our listeners are in the area, they can come out and support you.
I don't do a lot anymore because I have a couple of medical things that are slowing me down, but you know, age does it. Just so I do a lot. I love what I do because I can do it, you know, from home and this type of thing. I attended a ton of different classes and different things last lectures and stuff last year. That was my focus on last year. This year, my focus is on uh, sending things out, try to get attention. And one of the things that you talked about is you can't just send one out and expect somebody, very few, maybe there are people that happens to, doesn't me. But I read someplace it takes 7 times before anybody even notices what you are doing. So, and the other thing so you should send them at least 7 times, is what I'm saying. But the other thing that I get well over a dozen spam
Yeah.
a day that everybody's going to help me. And it's like, yeah, right, because of what they say. I know that
Hmm.
that's not going to. I think that a lot of times when you send something, they just think of you as a spammer and
Ah. So
just,
some type of subject line that doesn't really trigger that
exactly
spam thing to come.
might
Yes.
get them to at least look at it.
Yes, yes, yes.
But I doubt that too, but maybe.
Yeah, and building a newsletter, your blog.
You have to
It sounds
base
like
it on what you do,
you
you know?
have to. you have stuff that's working for you. Oh my goodness, what a pleasure! What a pleasure! We
Oh,
have
thank
been
you.
had a treat. We've had author Tricia Gardella, and I want to give you her website again. She is the author of the Mouse series, and just listen to her talk. I'm like, oh, those books sound so fun. Mouse visits Everglades National Park. Absurd, says Bird. What Bird heard? Mouse visits Joshua Tree National Park and others. You can check Tricia Gardella out online at TriciaGardella, TriciaGardella.com. Go out there and support her. If you have young readers, she's K3 now. She's going to be moving up to K4. But what a pleasure. And I just want to thank you, Tricia, for being here and for your grace last week and this week. And I wish you all the best with
Thank you.
your writing career. And now I'm going to stop the recording.